every time you're dealing with files, you're going to need to open that file first. But first we are going to need a pointer to that file. So just declare file and then open. Let's open that file with fopen. There are multiple ways to do this, but we're just going to use fopen. Put the file name, put the full path because it doesn't recognize bash tilde or something, and then mode. Here we have write, which is W, A for append, and write's going to overwrite the file. So if the file is already filled, if you write to it, it's going to overwrite that file, so the content of that file is going to be erased. If you append, of course, it's going to append over the file, so it's just going to add characters to it, to the end of the file. And then there's also read, if you're going to read that file. In this case, we're going to read, so just put R. And then we also should check, also do set, of course, to put the content, not the content, the return of fopen to fd. And then we'll check, we can check if the fopen succeeds. Just like malloc, you can check the return of fopen, if not fd. So if if fd equals 0, if it returns 0, it means it fails for whatever reason. So you can, return error, or whatever, or just, yeah. And then we're going to need to allocate a buffer to put the content of that file. But first, we're going to, well, you can just put like an arbitrary number to be your buffer size, but we can also just get the size of that file. So in Unix, you can use sys stat.h. In Linux or Mac OS, probably it should work, but on Windows there's probably another way to do that with fseek and stuff. I think just you can Google that, but we're just going to use the program stat. So also it's a struct. I don't actually remember it, so let's take a peek. Okay, so struct stat, and then you name it whatever, and then we can do stat and then name of the file, and then put the address of the struct. So, and then we can get the file size. So int file size st underscore size. As you can see, there are multiple other informations you can get from this, but we're going to need the size for now. And we can also check for errors. So if stat returns 0, so if file size is 0, which is the return of stat, also we don't need to do this. We'll just return an error. And then, well, you can either make an array of characters, but that doesn't really work if you make this a function, and if your if your file is big, then maybe it's not a good idea. So we're just going to use malloc. So allocate an array of characters to put the content of that file. There are other ways of doing this, but you know, this is it should be the fastest or easiest way to do it. So let's just file string equals malloc, and then since we have the size of the file, we're just going to use that. And because it's an array of characters, we don't need to cast it. So stdlib for malloc and fread at the end here. And we're going to move the content of the file to the buffer so we can actually do some stuff with the content of the file. Strict pointer, that's the buffer size of the data. Well, it's an array of characters, so you can put size of char, or you know, 1. N is the amount of characters, so just put the file string, since it's, you know, one character is 1 byte, and then the file pointer. And I guess you need to do that. Wait. Oh, wait, what? File size. Okay. Okay. So if we try this, and it works. So you can do whatever with the file string here, where the content of the file is moved from the file to this character pointer. And you know, you can do whatever with it. You can modify it or something. You can